It's an everyday thing. It's an everyday thing. It's an everyday thing when you let your nuts hang.
My baby daddy's a comedian, and the jokes are on me. Okay, let's start off like how we met. I was 16, just turning 17, out of high school, going to college for the first time, taking public transportation for the first time. I stayed in my city because of my boyfriend. I was in love with this man, okay? In love with him. And I didn't want to go away. Girls, do not do that. Please go away to school. But anyway, so I was taking the train for the first time. I was around older kids. And, I'm trying to get my bearings, trying to get acclimated. I'm meeting people from classes. I met a couple people in our Hulkin in the game room. And then, eventually I got my little circle, my little group of people that we would hang out with. It was a bunch of guys in there. They were the artsy kind. Some were singers. This one was a magnificent singer. He sounds so heavenly. I just knew he was going to blow up. And then our other friends. So, we would get free movie screenings from our school. So we would go to the movie screenings and things of that sort. But I was taking the train to school, and I lived like an hour and a half or more away, depending upon what time of day it was. So they would ride in my same direction because they were in that direction. One in particular used to ride me all the way home, and because of that, we got a little bit close. But again, I had a boyfriend. Everybody knew that because I was in love. And he had a girlfriend, so we were cool. Then, because we would hang out so much, I would get my car. I had a car, and my parents got me a car. And I would pick him up, and we would go to the movies. We'd go out to eat. We'd hang out. But it was strictly platonic. Like, I would be in the car on the phone with my boyfriend, telling him that, hey, you're at work, and I'm going to the movies with my friends from school. He knew about everything. Thought everything was cool. Well, we get back to school, and, his girlfriend was acting a little weird to me, but I didn't really pay it any attention until somebody was like, hey, she got a problem with you because you're going on dates with her man. And I'm like, we're not going on dates. We hanging out like we always do. And he was spinning it as if it were a date. And she was kind of getting jealous. But you know what? I didn't really delve that much into that because I ended up moving to Florida. Moved to Florida 10 years later. I'm in a relationship with another guy. Literally at that time, he was the love of my life. So only the second boyfriend I've ever had, and I was in love with him. Okay, you couldn't tell me that we weren't gonna be married and together forever. Okay, that was my man. But we were doing long distance, and the long distance didn't work. Make a long story short, he ended up breaking up with me about some stuff, and then I was spitefully ignored and blocked him for 5 whole months. Okay, mad as hell. Because I'm like, I ain't did nothing. Why would you break up with me? So the only reason why I ended up calling him and unblocking him, because I found out that one of his DJ, like a really well-known DJ friend of his, had died. So I wanted to talk to him about it. And when I called him, I was telling him I'm sorry. We were talking about it then. I was like, I miss you and I love you. And I can't believe that this happened to us. And I want to get back together with you. And he was like, I got a girlfriend. I was like, a girlfriend? We only been broke up 4 or 5 months. What do you mean you have a girlfriend and you're supposed to be sad that whole time like me? He was like, no, I got a girlfriend. And I'm like, who is she? Please tell me why. It's the Best Buy girl. We used to go to Best Buy every Tuesday, and they used to have these big bins of movies. So we would find the cheesiest movie every single Tuesday to try to watch together. It was a tradition. And sometimes we would have movies that weren't in the box, but we really wanted to watch them because he knew I love these cheesy movies. And I'd be trying to ask her. She would be ignoring me as if I were completely invisible. But him, she might as well lay down the red carpet. I'm like, hey, yo, she trying to get at you. He's like, no, she knowing with you. I'm like, nah, I can see it. She trying to get at you. Sure enough, that was his girlfriend. You talking about mad, okay? My grandmother had ended up having a stroke, so I moved back to Chicago to help with her and just to be closer to her or whatever. And plus I was trying to get my man back because that was my man, okay? So it didn't work out like that because I was like, I want you back. I'm back in the city. And he was like, I love her. What? You love her? Baby, I was bubblegut sick, vomity sick. Like, I can't breathe. You know them songs they be talking about? Can't eat, can't breathe, can't. That was me, literally. So I was like, I got to get out of this funk. I blocked the man for 5 months. I got to take responsibility for that, but I don't care. I still love him, whatever, but I got to get out of this funk. So we start hanging out, like my friends and I. And my best friend and I, one night, we were like, let's go to the bar. This is our favorite bar. We would go to this bar all the time. They knew us. This was our Cheers, okay? If y'all know what Cheers is. Excuse me. Cheers, the bar is. So we went that night. They were playing this, I think like the LA Lakers. I was about to say Clippers. But anyway, the LA Lakers were playing. And, you know, it was an older group of guys there. And they were like in their 40s. We were younger, and they knew we were younger, so they weren't trying to get at us or anything, but they were just being nice because we were next to them. We joke and laugh and whatever. They bought us a couple rounds, but it was literally nothing. You know, they weren't trying to get at us. So we sitting there, and the guy was like, hey, yo, I can't believe you haven't seen this. Don't look now, but this guy across the bar is trying to get your attention. Now, one thing anybody know about me, do not tell me don't look, because immediately I was like... So I looked, I was like, this little kid's trying to get my attention. They should have carded him. He probably shouldn't even be in here. And we laughed about it or whatever. So while I'm laughing, I turn back and look at him. He takes his hat off and he calls me by my full government name. I mean, first, middle, and last. I was like, who was that? Then I realized who it was. It was the guy from school. So I was like, oh my God, how are you? How you been? But I was like, we'll say Skippy. He comes over to the other side of the bar. We exchanged numbers. He's like, how you been? You married? You got kids? Blah. I was like, no, I don't have any kids. I'm not married. And he was like, oh, I'm single too, but I do have 2 kids. You know, I broke up with my girl about a year ago. And then he's showing me pictures of the kids. They so cute. They washing dishes, you know, playing together in their room. They got a little playhouse, dollhouse, like all these beautiful pictures. Keep that in mind. And I'm like, oh, they're so adorable, so cute, whatever. So we start texting back and forth. And eventually, you know, he like, you want to go out? So I'm like, yeah, let's go out. Why not? He come to pick me up. He in his Audi, blacked out, brand new tinted windows. I'm like, okay, yeah, whatever. So we start hanging out. We having a good time. He is bringing up memories. We talking. He's getting me caught up on, you know, everybody that we used to hang out with. And we're just having a really good time. We keep going out back and forth. And he is, when I tell you, he is feeding me the moon, the stars, and the sky, okay? He treated me like a lady. Like, he doing stuff like standing up out of his sunroof, looking at me, talking about how beautiful I look, walking away, and just love bombing me, okay? Literally, he was telling me about his family. I felt like he was being so open. He told me that his mom had died from brain cancer. Remember that. And I'm just like, we are connecting. I like this guy. This is the first guy I'm talking to since, you know, the breakup. He's fresh out. It's been a year for him. It's almost been a year for me. Let's see where this goes. So we're hanging out all the time. And I really like him. First red flag is, you know, he's like, you know, after we had gone out, he's like, come over. Mind you, I told him all what I like. So he doing it. We going to see the fireworks, which is my favorite thing in the world. He done got me Italian ice. We standing at the planetarium watching all the fireworks. Baby, I'm almost in love, okay? So he like, let's come to the house. So we go to the house and we pull up and I'm like, I know this neighborhood don't look that great. But it was one of those neighborhoods who's like right on the cusps of the hood. So like the hood is on a couple blocks this way or the next block. And then it was nice all this way. And he lived on that one little block right there. Okay, it's cool. You know, I have lived with my parents or in my parents' property my whole life. So I can't judge nobody. I ain't never had to rent or find my own place ever. I ain't judging. And plus, I like him. So we get into the apartment. And I notice, I'm like, I don't think people are supposed to be sitting in a walkway. But all right, I'm going to mind my business. And we walk up the stairs. We go inside. And I notice that there is a plaid blanket stapled to the window. And I was like, that ain't a curtain. So I'm like, where's the room at? There was no room. We were in the room. It was the front room, living room, and bedroom. And I was like, oh, okay. And then the bathroom was right there and the kitchen was right there. And I was like, oh, okay. So I look around in the kitchen and in the kitchen, you know, his food was in the refrigerator. I was like, why is cereal and bread in the refrigerator? That makes no sense, but whatever. I like him. We're connecting. We're good. So we spend a night. Everything's great. Now at this point, in my mind, we together. Because, I mean, we spending all our free time together. You know, we hanging out. We doing all kind of stuff. Second red flag is the night the morning he was taking me home. Honey, he literally called the girl he used to date to tell her that he was dating me and that I was in the car. stay tuned because, baby, it gets worse. Okay, so where were we? We were in the car, right? So we're in the car, and he had called the girl that he used to date in college to tell her that he was dating me and that I was in the car with him. I'm like, that's weird. But, you know, I still like him at this point. So it's okay. We letting stuff ride. Shouldn't let it ride, but we letting it ride. So before he drops me off home, we stop at the car wash to get his car washed. In this car wash, you had to get out and wait in the lobby area, and then they'll bring your car back to you. So while we're waiting in the lobby area, he runs into, I guess, this older gentleman he worked with or something. And he was like, hey, how you doing? Long time no see, blase, wooze. And then he's like, this is my friend. Now, I didn't make any faces or anything. I was just like, you know, I was cordial. I said hi, smiled. Then when we got in the car, I was like, hey, you introduced me as your friend. We've been dating for about 6 months now. I kind of actually thought we were together. He was like, no, we not together. Why we asking questions? Just let stuff. I don't like when people asking questions. Just let stuff be. Let it be. That always mess it up when you go to asking questions. And I'm like, what? This is unfamiliar territory because I've only been in 2 other relationships at this point. In both relationships, communication was very clear and it was open and it was okay. So I'm like, just don't say nothing. Let it be. That's I don't like that. So I had a little attitude about it. I was like, you know what? This ain't gonna work. I ain't gonna be able to do this. So we get back. He drops me off at home. And things are weird. You know, we kind of half texting each other. And it was kind of dying off. And then slowly it started to come back around. And, you know, I justified it like, you know what? I just got out of a long relationship. I'm really not over my man, to be honest with you. I don't need to be jumping into a new relationship. I can just chill. And it's okay that we're not putting names on it. That's how I justified it. Pure BS, okay? Total BS. So, this particular time, we was about to go to brunch or lunch or something, dinner. It could have been anything. But he was like, hey, before we go, my youngest daughter, her coat is messed up. Her mom is saying we need a new coat. But I just bought that coat, so I think the zipper is broken, so I need to go get it so I can take it to the cleaners to get the zipper fixed. I'm cool with it. We've been dating for a while, so, I mean, I'm all right. And he said nothing but nice things about her, so I didn't have any problem with it. So we get there, he parks. I know it should take about 5 minutes. He's just grabbing the coat. So about 7 minutes goes by, and I see him walking down the stairs backwards. And I see him, like, pulling on the coat, but she pulling it back. And I'm like, and I hear some ruckus. I know you didn't, blah, blah, blah. I Skippy, a bunch of cursing and stuff. And I'm like, what is going on? But, you know, I'm looking because I need to be aware. So he trying to push her back up the stairs. She pushing him down the stairs. And before I know it, she had done got down the stairs and she's almost to the car. So, you know, honey, I'm not about to be involved in this. I locked the car door real fast, left the windows up. And I'm just sitting there watching. I'm not exactly sure about how it ended, but I do know about how, you know, it got to the point where it ended. But I do know he ended up pulling a jacket from her and jumping in the car. And he pulls off. And I'm like, what is that about? Like, what was that about? I said, I thought it was fine. She knew you were dating. I don't understand what's happening. I've never dated anybody with kids, so I was completely clueless. Like, what is happening here? And he was like, yeah, we've been broken up. And she's normally cool, but I guess seeing me with somebody else triggered her. I'm like, but it's been like almost 2 years, so why is it triggering her? None of this is making any sense. But, you know, we go out and I'm not really there at dinner or lunch, whatever it was. I'm just trying to get through it at this point. And after he drops me back off home that last time, I was like, you know, I ain't really messing with this guy no more. I ain't going to be able to do this because this is not where it's at. I ain't going to be able to deal with this kind of stuff. So I ended up talking to my friends and we were like, no, something about that ain't right. Then we went on his Facebook page and right after there was an issue, right after that issue at the car wash, where I asked him what we were, I thought we were together. Then he started posting pictures with other girls and all kind of stuff. And I was just like, I do not have time for this. So, you know, I kind of cut it off. So a few weeks go past. So I'm not talking to him. I started dating some other guy. Just just casually talking. We really wasn't dating. It was just talking on the phone. So, this one particular day, my friend and I, my best friend, we were bored. She's like, you want to go do something? I'm like, yeah, let's go do something. So we went, got tattoos, these little silly tattoos on my wrist. And then after that, she's like, you want to do something else? I'm like, yeah, let's go to the movies. So before that, I had got out the car and I'm smelling. I'm like, oh, these trees are blooming, and the smell is so strong. Like, this smell is super strong. Like, it stinks. And she looking like, what trees? Looking around. I was like, them. They down the block. She like, I do not smell nothing. I'm like, well, they stink to me. So then we get to the movie theater, and the movie don't start for like 2 hours or so. But we ain't got nothing else to do. We had decided we were just going to chill all day. So we went and sat in the movie until it started. I was like, oh, they just painted this floor. This paint on the floor stinks so bad. Oh, my God. She was like, okay. Then I was like, that popcorn is making me want some popcorn. She's like, ain't no popcorn in here. But then she's like, well, this is a movie theater, so the whole movie theater smells like popcorn. I was like, no, somebody in here eating popcorn. She's like, we are literally almost 2 hours early for the movie. Nobody is in here. Sure enough, a guy at the bottom of the theater stands up. He got popcorn. She like, wait a minute. Get your stuff. We got some time. We got an hour and 45 minutes before this movie starts. We're going to Walmart. I was like, for what? She was like, to get a pregnancy test. I'm like, I ain't wasting my money on a pregnancy test. She's like, you ain't got to waste your money. I'm going to buy it. So we go over to the Walmart. We come back. It's like about, maybe we have 45 minutes to the movie start or something. Like, not even 45 minutes. We spent some time over there. So I go in the bathroom at the movie theater. I pee on a stick real quick, stick it back in the box, put the box in my purse. We go finish watching the movie. I'll never forget. The movie was, I done forgot the name of the movie. I just said I'll never forget. Grown Ups, my bad. It was Grown Ups. So we watching the movie, cackling. At the end of the movie, I'm like, you want to go get some ice cream from the Basket and Robbins? She like, yeah. So we go to the one that's connected to a Dunkin' Donuts. She's like, but now that we're in the parking lot, you gonna check that test? I'm like, sure, I'll check the test. It ain't nothing to it. It's negative. You wasted your money. So I pull the test out, bam. And I see a bunch of lines. I'm like, hold up, wait a minute, let me get the instructions. So I'm looking at the instructions. I'm looking through. I'm like, oh my God. So I literally hand the test to my best friend, reach in my purse, get the other one, bolt out of the door into the lobby of the Baskin and Robbins Dunkin' Donuts, holding a pregnancy test in my hand. And I say, can I use your bathroom? They're like, yeah, the code is blah, blah, blah. So I go in there, pee on the stick, y'all. I walk out of the bathroom holding a pissy pregnancy test, walking through the lobby of the Dunkin' Donuts, straight to the door. You know I had to be out of it. I get to the car. I was like, is it supposed to say a plus? Is it supposed to have lines? What is it supposed to say? She's like, it's supposed to have lines, not a plus. I'm like, what? How many lines? She said, 2 lines, Tara. I said, oh my God, there's 2 lines on here. She said, it's 2 big dark lines on this one too. I'm like, oh my God, I am pregnant. Oh my God, are you kidding me? Let me put this into perspective for you guys. I had only been dating this man for about 6 months. That's number 1, if that. Number 2, I was just in a relationship with the boy for 5 years, okay? The minute I go with somebody else, I'm pregnant, and my grandfather is a bishop, my mother, my grandmother, my great-grandmother, my father is a pastor, and I got to tell these people that I'm pregnant, and it's not by the man I've been with for 5 years. Yeah. So she's like, you gonna tell him? I'm like, I gotta tell him. What are you talking about? I gotta tell him. And I know he gonna be pissed off, but I just, you know what? I gotta tell him. So I call this man. He's ecstatic. I'm gonna trade my car in and get us 2 cars. We're gonna move in together. This is gonna be great. I'm so excited. This is my dream come true. And I'm sitting over here like, okay, your dream come true, but all right, well, maybe, I got some support, so maybe, it's going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay. Everything is going to be okay. Boy, was that the furthest thing from the truth. Pure, utter chaos from that moment forward. It was ridiculous. Stay tuned. So at this point, I'm still terrified, but I don't feel alone. I'm like, okay, I have somebody on my team. It's going to be okay. I can do this, Boy, was I completely wrong. So let me give you a little backstory. Right before all this happened, spring break was there. He had just gone to spring break in Florida with his friends. I went to spring break with my friends, but we never met up. Because remember, we weren't really talking to each other like that. So when I called him, it was after that. So, we talked about it. We on the phone, long conversations. He making all these plans. I'm like, okay, my guards have been down from jump since I knew him from college. So my guards have never been up, and they should have been up, but they were never up. So I'm feeling okay. I'm like, I just got to tell my parents. I got to tell my family. I don't know how I'm going to do this, but at least I'm not by myself. So we're talking about making appointments. He's like, I'm going to be there with your first appointment. I'm not going to miss an appointment. We're going to do this together, blah, blah, blah. And I am like, okay, you know what? I can do this. I'm actually really grown. I'm not a teenager. I'm not 23. I'm grown, okay? I'm not 30 yet, but I'm grown. So this is going to be all right. It's going to be all right. So we make the first doctor's appointment. Now, mind you, I haven't told my family yet. But I make the first doctor's appointment. And we go together. And we so excited. So he asked me, he's like, about how far along are you? Now, I know the exact day that I got pregnant. I wrote it down in my calendar. I remember writing down, please, God, I know I'm pregnant, but please don't let me be pregnant. At that time, I wasn't even thinking about that. But I literally wrote that in my journal the night after. I knew it. So I knew the exact date. So calculating from that date, I'm like, I should be about 6 weeks pregnant. And he was like, okay, yeah, that sounds about right. So we go into the appointment. We're waiting in the waiting area. And he just like, we just talking, shooting the breeze, waiting to go back. And he was like, man, if she say some other time, yeah, it's going to be a problem. And I'm joking and I'm laughing. I'm like, because I already know. First of all, before you, I was with my whole boyfriend, and before you, I hadn't seen him. We hadn't been together almost a year, because before that, we broke up for 5 months. But before that, I was living in Florida. He was in Chicago, and he hadn't seen me since it had been some time. So there was a long distance in between the last time I was with somebody and then him. So I ain't got no issues, no problems. I ain't thinking about nothing. I know what it is. So we laughing, ha ha ha, he he he. We get into the doctor's appointment. Doctor's appointment is going well. Ain't nobody saying nothing. She's informing us. She's talking. We do the internal ultrasound. We hear the heartbeat. She's printing out the pictures. We're scheduling the next doctor's appointment. And then she's like, so we're going to do your due date. We're going to put your due date. You're at about 8 weeks pregnant. And he was like, wait a minute, 8 weeks pregnant? And I was like, huh? She's like, well, we calculate the 2 weeks prior to your period, which are the weeks that you're ovulating. And I was like, oh, okay. I completely understood it. He did not. No. She said it was on this date. And she said, well, most people don't know the exact date that they got pregnant. But since she does, and you guys are saying that you do, according to the date that she's telling me, her due date is still March 3rd. So she's absolutely correct. But you're saying you're telling me that she's 8 weeks pregnant. She should only be 6 weeks pregnant. The doctor again says, we calculate 2 weeks prior to your period. That's when you ovulate. So we tack on an additional 2 weeks. Because that's when the egg shot out of you. No, this ain't right. 2 weeks, 8 weeks ago, you were in Miami. I was in Miami, but we wasn't together. Who you was with? Girl, we are in the doctor's office, and he's saying this. And the doctor says again, Sir, calm down. We calculate 2 weeks prior to her missed period. We add additional 2 weeks on. So that would make her 8 weeks pregnant according to how we map pregnancy. He didn't hear nothing this woman was saying. This man immediately. I done had kids before, and both my baby mamas. Excuse me? What do you mean, both your baby mamas? Both my baby mamas, they wasn't no 2 extra weeks. They was right when they said they was. You got pregnant when you was in Miami. This ain't my baby. I'm still stuck on both my baby mamas. Because I know you didn't just say both my baby mamas. I said, you have 2 baby mothers? You know I had 2 baby mamas? I said, you told me you have 1 baby mama. I never said I had 1 baby mama. I said, you showed me pictures of the kids together in the same house. You said you broke up with her. You let her keep the house so she had the kids. No, she got other kids other than my kids. My baby was her last baby, but I got another baby before her, and I just be taking her over there. What did you just say to me? Are you serious right now? No, we ain't talking about that. We're talking about the fact that you ain't 6 weeks pregnant, you 8 weeks pregnant, and you were in Miami and we didn't see each other. That ain't my baby. I'm so embarrassed at this point. I am trying to be chill because we are still in the doctor's office. I am trying to schedule my next appointment. And I'm trying to be chill because I'm like, okay, as soon as he calms down, he is going to comprehend what the doctor said 52 times. Once he calms down, he's going to comprehend this. It's going to click. Oh, baby, it did not click. It did not click. Whole ride going off, then pure silence. I just get out the car. I was like, what the hell just happened here? I am devastated. I immediately get on the phone because I'm like, maybe I'm tripping. I got to call my best friend and we got to recount some stuff because I'm like, what is happening? He started making me doubt myself. Now, I know ain't nobody else been in this kitsy cats. I know this. But he was so irate, so off the meters, it was making me doubt myself. I was like, what the heck is happening? Oh my God. Literally, he started harassing me, talking about my stepmother had kids and she said that's not how they calculated. I'm like, your stepmom? She had kids before they had ultrasound, sir. What are you talking about? Your stepmom was not in the room with us when we were creating this child. What are you saying to me? I need a paternity test. I need a paternity test. You need to take a paternity test now. I'm 8 weeks pregnant. I'm not taking a paternity test. And what are you talking about? You need to get a paternity test. So I'm like, you know what? I'm completely going to just ignore this man because I cannot. I've got to tell my family. I end up telling my mom. She's not too thrilled about it. But she's like, you know what? Whatever you want to do. I think she was trying to say, I support you either way. Because, baby, it was some points in time. I was like, I should have went either way, baby. But, I ended up telling my dad. I told everybody. He was giving me pure hell. Like, literally, I am 5 months pregnant. This man is talking about I need to do an in vitro paternity test. I said, sir, I'm not doing that. I'm just going to block you. I'm not doing that. You're not about to stress me out. This man was calling me, blowing my phone. You need to get a better job. The job you got ain't nothing. You need to be able to take care of this kid. That ain't my kid. I need a paternity test. Stop calling me. I'm not calling you. You're calling me. Literally, a switch was flipped off and he lost his marbles. I have never experienced anything like this. The pure torment, the harassment, the calls. He was calling me a hoe. He was calling me dirty. He was like, that's why I got another girl. I never liked you in the first place. You ain't helping you with shit. You gonna find out who your baby daddy. Okay, so we left off right after the doctor's appointment where I found out he had 2 baby mamas versus 2 children and 1 baby's mother. He also told me that the baby wasn't his because the doctor added an additional 2 weeks prior to my missed period because of ovulation. He is harassing the daylights out of me. He's telling me that the baby not his. He dating other people. He never liked me in the first place. I need to have an abortion. That baby not his. I need a better job. Like literally every negative thing you can think of, he said to me. He's like demanding that I have an in vitro paternity test, sending me the information about it, talking about he gonna make a doctor's appointment for it, and just literally off the chains. He's dating other people and like posting them on Facebook. Just literally anything you can do to try to hurt somebody or make them little, he was doing it to me, to the point where I was like, I just literally have to block you. He was even like calling me on some days and trying to be nice and trying to give me horrible baby names. He even said the baby's gonna be gay. Literally. I had to bind the devil off of him because it was terrible. So I had to block him. Fortunately for me, I had some amazing work friends around that time. Literally, they were hands down the most amazing, influential people at that time for me. They had my back like nobody else. When I tell you, I am so grateful for them to this day. We called ourselves the Get Money Crew. And when I tell you they took care of me, they took such great care of me. I love them so much to this day. So they were there. But one of the issues that I ran into, I'm like, oh my God. You know, the my man I told y'all about a couple stories ago, I had to tell him. Because even though we've broken up, like, I don't want any of our friends to see me out and then tell him that I'm pregnant and I haven't told him myself. I still respected him and loved him enough to be honest with him. Even though, you know, he broke up with me, I blocked him for 5 months. He had a whole nother girlfriend. I still respected him and loved him enough to be like, hey, this is something you need to hear from me. So I called him. I said, hey, we need to talk. And I thought this was going to be like a 5 to 10 minute conversation. I just knew he was going to be like, you know, I don't want to be dealing with all this. That's your issue, your problem. I'm with my girl. So we happy. And that's what I anticipated, but I still wanted to tell him myself. So I called him. I said, hey, we need to talk. I tell him, I said, hey, I'm pregnant. Initially, he was like, oh my God, like, are you in labor or something? I'm like, no. So then it dawned on him, like, wait a minute. He was like, you let somebody hit raw? Of all the things to say, sir, that's what you say to me? You have a whole girlfriend that you told me you love. I'm sure you're hitting raw. Like, what are you talking about? And so I'm thinking, you know, I'm going to get off the phone. That's going to be it. No, he wanted to go in deep detail. He needed every single piece of information about it. And I gave it to him. He was like, this dude is a shitty dude. I was like, I know. Like, I had already made the decision that I wasn't talking to him anymore. But at that point, I mean, I'm already pregnant and I chose to have my baby. He's like, I did this. This is my fault. I'm like, this is not your fault. He was like, this is my fault. I shouldn't have never broken up with you. This is my fault. And I'm sorry. And if you need anything, I am there for you. And I was like, well, I don't want to be disrespectful to your relationship. So I'm going to, you know, try to keep you out of it. He's like, listen, don't you worry about that. If you need something, I got you. And I was so very, you know, pleased about that. He was hurt. Like, literally, we were on the phone for like 5 hours. Literally 5 hours. He got dressed. He drove to his best friend's house, which was 45 minutes away. His best friend was like, man, why are you smoking? I thought you stopped smoking. And he was like, man, I just found out some stuff and I'm just messed up in the head about it. And so I had to be honest. Like I said, the whole time, my baby daddy was just literally harassing the hell out of me. But I'm trying to make the best of it. I am planning a baby shower. My Get Money crew they're helping me. Like, we found an amazing venue. My mother did it. This was literally the best. You can ask anybody. Anybody that came to my baby shower said it was the best. The craziest part about it, we forgot to get a photographer. So there are minimal pictures. But I had a DJ. I had catered food. There was a stage. We had liquor. It was literally a party. literally a whole entire party. You can ask anybody. My baby shower was lit. And I got so many amazing, wonderful gifts that I didn't have to buy anything for my daughter. I promise you, until she was like 2, maybe even 3. Like everything. And the stuff that I didn't have, I got gift cards. The Get Money crew gave me a $700 Target gift card. Like, plus, it was just amazing. God blessed me so amazingly. So I didn't have any worries when it came to the kid, to having a baby or whatever. So I get through to the end of my pregnancy, just trying to ignore him. He's calling, telling me, oh, I'm not going to be there when you had a baby. I'm like, okay, cool. We've already established that I don't care. I don't want you there. You're not about to stress me out. I went into labor. I had one of the most amazing deliveries. She came out quick. She was beautiful, healthy. Just, I couldn't have asked for anything more. My grandmother was so happy. My great-grandmother was so happy. Like, everything was wonderful. Everybody was coming up to the hospital, my friends. Like, it was just beautiful. Literally, it was beautiful. So I brought her home. Now, mind you, I done been in the hospital for 3 days. 3 days. Okay. I just pushed out a 10-pound baby. Naturally. Yes, I had an epidural, but naturally. They had to stitch me up. I had to get daddy stitches. That's what they called them. So they stitched me up to a virgin, okay? So I get home, and mind you, I'm skinny. Whole time I'm pregnant, literally skinny. I'm only belly. If I can insert pictures, I'll insert a picture. Literally, only belly. So I get home. I am tired. My body hurts from everywhere. I have stitches. I'm looking at my stomach and it's like flat, but my skin is black. I am like, what is happening? My boobs are swollen up to the point where my nipple is flat. Finally, when milk comes out, it's just coming out in streams enough to feed 6 children. I am tired. I cannot climb stairs, so I'm on the first floor of my family's building. And on the first floor at that time, my great-grandmother and my grandmother and my mom, we were all on the first floor to help me. And also, just everybody could come to the first floor. So I'm there, mind you, okay? I just got home. I probably went to sleep and then woke up. It's the next morning. I have not combed my hair. I think one of my aunts called and told him I had had the baby, because I wasn't calling him and telling him nothing. He pops up at my house with a Walgreens bag. Now, my baby had one of these bassinets that you could just roll all over the house. My aunt bought it for me. It was so beautiful. So she had one of the bassinets. She bought me the bassinets rolled around the house. So they were like, your baby daddy is here. And I was like, what is he doing here? Who told him? I was so aggravated. But I'm like, you know what? Good energy. I have to breastfeed. My baby can feel all of this. So, get yourself together. So I am rolling in the front room after I just had a baby. My hair is in probably like a ponytail or braids or something that hadn't like plaits, but the old day plaits. I had on a gown and a robe. My feet are still swollen. They haven't even gone down yet. And I'm wobbling, rolling the baby to the front because he's here. I'm like, who told this man? I hadn't planned to tell him until after my 6 weeks. So I come up there and I'm in pain and there's milk shooting out of my boobs and I'm irritated, but I'm still trying to hold it together. And I'm like, just come in here. My grandmother's like, you got this, you got this. So I go into the living room. I roll the baby in there. He looks at the baby, tries to pick her up. I say, you need to wash your hands. So he washes his hands. I notice as he's going to wash his hands, he has a Walgreens bag, and it has 2 items in the Walgreens bag. You guys will never believe what was in the Walgreens bag. So we left off where my baby daddy is walking down the hallway to wash his hands so that he could pick up the baby for the first time. If this is your first video of mine, you're seeing my baby daddy is a real comedian, but the jokes have been on me. And also, I've been getting some mental health questions, asking how I'm doing. Well, this all happened 14 years ago, so I'm doing relatively well. I did notice, however, because like sometimes I'm one of the people who like experiences trauma and then like I forget it, but it's still inside. So I think like by speaking about it, I just want to get it all up and out and, just be a better version of myself. Anyway, back to the story. So I noticed he's getting ready to start walking back down the hallway. So I'm like, let me sit down. So I put my hand on the arm of the couch to like ease down because I was in so much pain and I was grimacing trying to sit down. And I noticed that he's now in front of me and he's reaching down to get the baby. And he looks up at me and says, "Look at your hair. You didn't comb your hair. Why would you come out here with your hair like that?" Sir, come out here. I'm in my own home. You came here unannounced. Please stop. So I'm just trying to sit down and just get through it. I'm like, I just need this to be over. I see my grandmother. She's kind of like the way our house is built. Like if you're sitting in a certain position on the couch, you can see everything in the front room and you can see everything at the foyer and down the long hallway. But if you're inside of the family room, you can't really see who's coming in the foyer or the hallway. So my grandmother was like kind of standing right there. So I'm looking at her and she's, she has this peaceful look, like just, peace. So it in turn gives me peace. So I look up, and when I look up, the very first memory that I have etched in my brain of my daughter and her father was him taking a cotton swab out of that Walgreens bag from a DNA box next to a pack of newborn or premature newborn diapers that my 10-pound baby could not fit, swiping the cotton swab around her gums and her tongue, picking up a little Ziploc bag, dropping it in and sealing it. Then he starts to ask me questions from the questionnaire like I was going to answer them. Then I see him go ahead and swab his own mouth and zip the bag up. There was an anger brewing from my soul, bubbling up, getting ready to literally grip me. And then I looked up at my grandmother and she said, "Baby, it's okay. It's okay." And it dissipated. Then this man had the nerve to get up, walk over to me with another little baggie with another cotton swab in it and say, "This is yours." Y'all, I blacked out. I can't even tell you what I said. The only thing I remember saying is, "I'm tired. You got to go, and you got to go now." And then I remember walking down the long hallway and I could hear the wheels from the bassinet rolling on the wooden floor. And I wasn't pushing it. So it had to be my grandmother or somebody else had gotten the baby because I was just out of it. I couldn't believe he brought premature newborn diapers, like 9 of them, and a paternity test to my house the very first few hours that I'm home. Like, are you kidding me? Whatever. The next 6 weeks go by like super fast, like super duper fast. I am pumping. There's milk coming out of me like crazy. I'm having night sweats. My aunts are cooking some of the most amazing meals, and they're all like nutrient enriched so that my breast milk, that's why I had so much breast milk. Okay. So that my breast milk would flow properly. My grandmother, my mother, and my great grandmother are wrapping me with stretchy linen and like girdles to like keep me snatched up. It was a whirlwind, okay? A whirlwind of stuff happening. Everybody coming over to see the baby. It was just so much happening in that 6 weeks. And then I was home for most of the time. And then I remember I got bored. So I was like, let me try to just go back to work. My job was very lenient. And they allowed me to come back to work part-time and just chill, and be out of the house. I was working. Then I transferred jobs to this horrible job that I thought was customer service. But I was really outside. I'm not even going to name what they were. But I'm just trying to, get back into the swing of things and be a mom and be an adult and try to be responsible for what I had done. Just get back to myself. I was struggling though, y'all. I was so broke. I had never been this broke in my life, not even as a child. Like as a child, I had more money. I remember thinking to myself, I had more money as a teenager than I do right now getting up, going to work every day. It was ridiculous. But I'm like trying to get through it. And the entire time, remember my man, the one I had tried to get back with after we broke up, and I ignored him for 5 months. And then that's how I met my baby daddy. Yeah, him. He was so kind to me the whole entire time, y'all. And I was trying to stand back because I didn't want to disrespect his new relationship. And like, even though he was like, we're not doing anything, I just thought about like, if I were her, how would it feel for me? So I tried to stay away. But after I had the baby, he was just like, you know, we're friends. We were together long enough to respect each other and not disrespect my relationship. And I care about you. And I told her, she knows. Like, I'm not going to do anything to disrespect her, but she knows that I care about you and that I'm going to check on you. So I'm like, all right, it is what it is. So he's checking on me. Like, there were times when I needed something, he would get it for me. Or if I needed a ride to get somewhere, he would take us. I had moved out, and it was around Christmas time, and he wanted to, you know, see my place. And I told him, I was like, I'm a big girl, you know, because to be honest with you, he spoiled me a lot and I was spoiled. So whatever. But I'm like, I got my own place. You know, I had a baby, I'm working, I'm doing my thing. And he's like, okay, you know, let me see. So he brings us, he picks me up from my church and he brings me to my house, and he comes up to the door, and he's so respectful. He didn't even cross the threshold. He was like, I just wanted to help you up the stairs with the baby and everything. And I was like, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And I'm like, you can come in. Like, it's not going to be anything. You can just look around and then you can leave. And he's like, oh, your Christmas tree is so pretty. And then he was looking at, you know, just looking at all the stuff. And he was like, man, he literally was like, man, this was supposed to be us. And I was like, okay, well, good night, because we're not doing that. You cannot be in my apartment by yourself, me by myself, and we reminiscing and going down. We're not doing that. You got to go because you have a whole girlfriend. And karma is very real. You are not coming back to get me, Miss Karma Girl. Okay, so see you later. Bye-bye. See ya. Peace out. So he leaves. But again, very nice, very kind. If I needed anything, he was there. So it had gotten to a point where he was just like, you know what, Tara, I'm gonna just be honest with, like, he invited me out for a drink. And this is the time my mom was like, you need to go out. You need to just do something. I'm gonna keep the baby. Please go out. And she did that a lot. My God, thank you for my mother. Thank you for my mother. Thank you for my mother. But anyway, she's like, you need to go out. So I was like, okay. So of course I'm going to my favorite bar, Cheers. And I honestly was just going to go by myself. And he just randomly was like, hey, you know, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm getting ready to go to the bar. And he's like, okay, well, I'm going to meet you there. I'm like, cool, no problem. I had just started working at a new job that I love so much. And it was with an airline. And I just absolutely love the job. So I was excited to tell him about it. So we're sitting down and we're just reminiscing. Like, literally, I'm in the best shape of my life at that moment. He's in the best shape of his life at that moment. I'm like, dear Lord, have mercy on me. Karma is real. Do not be disrespectful. This is your friend. I'm gonna be honest with you. I was like, hey, Mr. Fine, okay, you looking good. But keep it to yourself, girl. Keep it to yourself. So we're sitting down. I'm telling him about my new job. He's telling me about how he's getting ready to graduate with his master's. He wants to start I think he was saying about like an ambulance company or something, transportation ambulance or something of that sort. And like, we are just, before we know it, it's been like 4 hours. And I'm sitting here and I realized I had gotten sucked back into that space because we were always in a really good space, y'all. We really, the arguments we had were superficial, and just me being stubborn. That's the whole reason it's really dragged out. Like, you know, yeah, he broke up with me, but I probably was, I don't know. We don't know. But I got sucked back up into that moment, y'all. And when I tell you, it's like time slowed completely down. And it was just him and I in the room. And literally, I could hear my heart beating out of my chest. So we left off where I'm in the bar with my ex. We're platonic. We're trying to be friends. And literally time stops. We're the only ones in the room. That's what it feels like. And I can literally hear my heart beating through my chest. If you guys are just now seeing this video for the first time, my baby daddy is a real comedian, but the jokes have always been on me. Again, I've been getting mental health questions asking how I'm doing, how I'm coping. You know, I found myself initially subconsciously not speaking about it or talking about it because it just hurt, to be honest with you. And then also, I think I was subconsciously like protecting his image, if that makes any sense. I don't even know why, but that's what it was. So I never really talked about it, and it kind of just went down into the deeps of my soul, and I forgot about it. But it was still there, and it would sometimes rear its ugly head with the way that I responded to things. So I'm like, I just want to talk about it, get it all out, and just be the best version of myself. Okay, so we're in a bar. And like my emotions are going through the window, and I'm like, I cannot tell this man this. I'm not going to ruin his relationship. I just can't do that to him. So I was just like, you know what? I think it's getting late. We should go home. Okay. So I'm trying to remember, because at some point, I went home and he followed me to make sure that I got home safely. So kind. So I get out of the car and we walk to the porch. And we're just talking on the porch again, and it's lingering. And I feel that urge to want to lean in. Like, I was like, I can't even hug you right now because I'm going to try to kiss you. And I don't want to do that. So, you know, we should go. So we did. I was like, thank you so much for making sure I got home. Give me a hug. And I literally darted myself right in the house. I know he was sitting there like, what is wrong with this girl? I was literally running from him, y'all. You don't even running. Okay. So back to reality, honey. So I'm at work and my phone is ringing off the meters. On my computer, I have my email up and it's ding, 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 ding. And I'm like, what is this? And I notice it's from my baby daddy. So I answer the phone. I'm like, hello. He's like, oh my God, she's mine. I can't even, I'm at work. I gotta go. That was my response. And I hung up the phone. I'm sitting here like, what do you thought I was supposed to be excited? So he is, at this point, he's like trying to be nice to me again. I want to see my daughter, coming over to the house, complimenting me on my body. Like just whatever he can, trying to like spend time in the house. I'm like, literally, if I couldn't leave because I was the only one there, literally, I was on the other side of this entire house. Okay. I was like, you not getting ready to do that to me. That's not what we're doing. Okay, we're not doing that. I'm not going there. No, I don't even want to talk to you. I'm not going to keep you from your daughter. But now that I'm more aware of his behaviors, I know that his all of a sudden wanting to see his daughter and wanting to be a part of her life was just to get close to me, which is so sick, bro. It's sick. But anyway. So I'm just doing my best to ignore him. I am like minimal conversation. I try not to ask him. It was a point. Let me tell y'all, I was starving. Okay. Literally starving. And I had a little bit of pride left. You know, that pride got broken all the way down, but I still at that time had a little bit of pride left. And like, we needed groceries. And I was like, let me just call him and ask him to send me some money, or just to even buy the groceries. You don't even got to give me the money. Just buy the groceries. You don't have to do the shopping. You could just come in, pay for it, and then leave. That's it. So I called him. I was like, listen, the baby doesn't have any more baby food. I don't really have the money right now to buy it. Can you buy us some food? Ask your family to buy you some food. What kind of mother are you that you can't feed your own kid? I ain't never seen a mother before that couldn't feed their own kid. Should you even be a mother? Should you even have a child? Y'all, I was like, how could somebody be this evil? The man told me he ain't never seen a mother that couldn't. He said, I got 2 baby mamas and they ain't never had a problem feeding their child. Sir, this is your child too. Like, are you for real right now? He was very serious, y'all. Very serious. So I was just like, you know, whatever. So I ended up calling my family, of course. They were like, why would you even call him? You should have called us immediately. Like, why? And my ex, I was telling him about it. He was like, do not call that man for anything. Don't call him for nothing. We gonna handle this. But when I told my mother was like, oh, no, ma'am, no, ma'am, no, ma'am. That's what he not gonna do. Now, we ain't asked him to do nothing. You call him and ask him for some food and he tells you that? Okay. I was like, Ma, I don't know what else to do. She was like, I do. State of Illinois. I was like, Ma, I don't want to put him on child support. She says, you don't have to want to. Your baby needs to eat. He cannot just not help you guys at all. We're not doing that. And I was like, but then it's going to make more problems. She said, well, then you're just going to have to deal with more problems. Here is the information. He is going on child support. If he can't do simple things, you've not asked him to do anything this whole entire time. You ask him for some food and he won't get food for your baby. Forget you. He wouldn't even get food for the baby. No, we're not doing that. And I was like, well, I guess you're right. So I end up having to put him on child support. Whole time, I'm still in contact with my friend. He's just like, he was the light at that point, you know, but like I said, I was trying to be respectful. So I kept it, you know, I kept it away. It got to a point where he was like, listen, here, this is what it is. I love you. You had this baby. This baby should have been mine. I want to marry you. And as soon as we get married, you need to have another baby. I was like, wait, what? Hold on, slow up. What are you saying to me? He was like, I love you. I want to be with you. I have to do it right. I got to let her know, which is his current girlfriend. And I was like, you can't just do that to her. He said, it's worse to be with her and know that I really want to be with somebody else and I'm in love with somebody else. And that's not fair to anybody. And I just didn't know how to handle that. Like, there was a part of me that was elated. There was a part of me that space that had died emotionally, like, just woke back up. And I was just like, so very happy. But I was afraid to express that happiness because I'm like, I'm still, to be honest, I'm a girl's girl. So I'm still like, man, like, you still have to break up with her. And he's like, I can't do anything but just be honest with her and let her know she's not done anything wrong. Like, she is a great person. And, like, she's a great person. But I'm in love with you. And I want to spend the rest of my life with you. I want to marry you. And I want to have children with you. I want a family with you. And y'all, this is all I've ever wanted, to be honest with you. Like, all I've ever wanted. So at this point in time, I'm just like, listen, it is what it is. Like, just do not disrespect her. That's all I was begging. Just don't be disrespectful. Whole time this conversation is happening, my baby daddy is trying to come over to the house more. Like, he's, you know, you looking good. And I'm sitting over here like, oh my God, please get away from me. Please just see your child and keep it moving. Like, we had not, like, I had not kissed him. Not talking, my man is what I'm talking about. I hadn't kissed him. I hadn't hugged, like, well, we hugged, but like, I hadn't done anything, because he was still in the relationship. So I was like, we can't do nothing. You could look at me up and down. I could look at you up and down, honey. You look like a popsicle on 110 degree day. Okay. But still, I'm not doing that because I'm a girl's and karma is real. And Miss Ma'am Karma, she wasn't coming for me. Okay. So, I got distracted, y'all. I have ADHD, so sometimes I go on a tangent. But anyway, so, he's telling me, he's like, listen, I'm going to have to tell her, because, you know, we just have to be honest. We have to do this right. And I was in 100% agreement. I didn't feel like I need to tell my baby daddy nothing. So, like, he knew that, you know, he was coming around, but what could he say about it? Y'all, the most devastating thing, I think, of my whole entire life, even thinking about it right now, like, I'm so glad this video is at the end because, like, literally thinking about it is bringing tears to my eyes because I can't even comprehend what happened next. And it sent me into a spiral that I didn't even know how to get out of. So stay tuned for that. Hopefully I won't cry because I've never wanted to cry on camera, but we're just trying to be real.
Every day